I'm Zuki, and this is my first build. I've never done this before, but I have always wanted to, and when the 3080s were first announced, I got really excited about the idea of ray tracing and decided it was time to build my first computer. Now, this was a learning experience for me. The first was all of the upfront research I did to make sure that each part that I was choosing would work most optimally with all of the other parts. Also, it was the discovery of just how hard it is to get some of these components when they're first released, namely the 3080 and the Zen 3. So this journey starts with the 3080, and as we all know by now, when it was first released, they were gone like that. Luckily, through the help of Stock Drop's Discord channel, I was able to find this bad boy, the EVGA FT-W3 Ultra. Now, because I did get it early on, this is the version with the red clown lips that was eventually changed to black because so many people didn't like it. And being the aesthetic person that I am, I certainly wasn't planning on it. But I was so happy just to land this one that I decided to integrate that into my design language for the build, and I think it turned out really nice. The next most challenging component that I got was AMD's Ryzen Zen 3. Now, it was challenging for two reasons. One, because it was just as challenging to get as the 3080, gone in a flash. And two, because AMD decided to release it when it did, I ended up having to wait about a month and a half in which to build this computer that I was super excited for. So, very challenging indeed. The version that I got is the 5900X, which was the version that I was going for, and I got super lucky getting it in a combo pack off Newegg with the X570 AORUS Master. I was very happy to get that motherboard because I originally got the X570 AORUS Elite and was worried that I was maybe compromising in a few areas that I wouldn't end up being happy with in the long term. So while it was more expensive, it was the only way to get the 5900X, and it ended up justifying my position in the end. What's also really nice about this motherboard is that EK makes a custom water block for it. And I did consider creating my own custom loop, but I figured that that might be a challenge too far for my first build. Maybe that's something that I'll tackle in a future upgrade to this particular machine. But for this build, I decided to go with the EK-AIO 360 D-RGB. Besides the fact that EK is synonymous with water cooling, the reason why I decided to go with this AIO is because I actually do like the way that the block looks. It's a little angular, it's a little industrial, and I figured that it would be the right component for this particular monster. I also needed a case to put it all in, so I decided on the Phanteks P500A Eclipse in white. It is a big airflow case that I figured would give me plenty of space to build within, as well as having a ton of wire management, slots, and ties to make my first build as easy as possible. I also needed a power supply unit, and SeaSonic has a great reputation, so I decided to go with the Focus GX850. Now, this is an 80 plus gold, fully modular unit that is actually really quite attractive. Moving on to memory, for the RAM, I got the G.Skill Trident Z Neo. 2 sticks of 16 Gigabyte 3600 C16 memory. Specs alone, it is plenty fast for this computer, but it also had a duo color layout with some nice angular edges that I figured would match that industrial look that I was going for. I also picked up a Sabrent 1 terabyte PCIe Gen 4, and that's going to work as my boot drive. And then for my media, I got 2 terabytes of the WD Black PCIe Gen 3 M2. To tie it all together, I went with 2 packs of sleeved power cables. The reason why I went with 2 is because the EVGA FT-W3 Ultra has 3 8-pin connectors when these packs normally only come with 2. As well as this motherboard has 2 4x4 CPU power connectors when these things normally only come with 1. So I ended up going with a pack of AORUS as well as Formula Mod sleeved extension cables in 2 different colors that I thought would match this build. Lastly, I prepped 2 USB sticks that would help me in my build. The first I preloaded with an updated BIOS that would help this motherboard communicate with the 5900X. The second I preloaded with an updated version of Windows so that I could bypass all of the hours of updates that would ultimately be necessary off of an old key that I had. In the montage that you're about to watch, we're going to connect the motherboard to the power supply unit and update the BIOS. Then we're going to install the CPU, the AIO, the GPU, and the memory outside of the case to hopefully post. Okay, so we are at the crucial step of seeing if this will function. Computer is technically a computer. It looks hideous, and we're going to turn it on. And it's on. All three fans are working. Our AIO looks like it's lit up. RAM is on. Now we just need to see, will it post? HDMI. Boom! And there it is. Live and running. Okay, so it's the next day. We know that it works. I installed Windows. Everything is hunky-dory. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take it apart, unwire everything so that we can get ready for the install into the case. So with that, here we go. Okay, so this is the case. One of the things we're going to install in here, I need to prep the case, take off the back piece, take off the front piece. Also need to install another M.2 drive in here, and then we should be good to go. I'll have to see. It looks like there's standoffs in here, so I might not be worried about that, but I'll let you know if there's anything that I come across that we need to troubleshoot. Otherwise, that's what I'm going to do. So. go. Now it's time to install the radiator and the fans. I also want to put the 140 fan back there for exhaust, but first I'm going to connect the CPU power because it's going to be a pain. Alright, and there it is. I think that's got a really nice flow to it. The only problem is that there is no sticker to match all the rest of the fans. Yeah, that's a problem for later. Alright, day 3. Only because it was Thanksgiving yesterday. Not that it's definitely taken a lot longer than I probably wanted to, but you know, Thanksgiving, gotta spend time with family. So a few little things that I did was I plugged in a few wires, the fan header for this guy over here, the pump header, and then the fans for the radiator. So now what I want to do is plug in the PSU, or not plug it in, but insert it. We're almost there. So before we put in the graphics card, we want to make sure we get all this wired up. So there's a few things I want to take note of where wires are going to go, so that when I'm doing my wire management, it'll be clear about where I'm putting stuff. Obviously I need to put in the ATX wiring in, but I'm also noting that there are 2 fan controllers here. I believe that there is one, yes, down here, so that will be where I plugged in all 3 of these. Also going to take advantage of the USB 3.1C, and then we also have USB 3.0 slots here. This is where I'm going to have to put in the power. We're also going to take advantage of D-RGB. So basically all of the fans are daisy chains. I plug them into the system, so the case can control the D-RGB, or I can override through the motherboard. The pump I'm going to want on its own separate D-RGB, which is up in here. I'm also going to want to take advantage of 2 temperature sensors as well as a noise sensor. The noise sensor is up here, the temperature sensors are here and here. But I'll also connect HD audio, and that's pretty much it. Wiring is done, can't really see any of the wires, try to do my best, these things, what we can do. Figured out that 8 times 3 is 24, so I actually had a few 24 pin wire combs to use to make these look nice and tidy. So that's really nice. And then I went with the red and white beams to really go through the whole thing and match the cloud lips and the EVGA card. And I think it actually looks really nice. So a little pop of color, stuck with a lot of that white to even out how dark you can get it in there. And the only thing left to do now is to turn it on. Moment of truth. All right. There we go. Everything's lit up. Lovely. But we've booted into Windows. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me put together my first computer. If you haven't seen it already, I have a video of the completed build set to music that I'm sure you're going to like. So definitely check that out. If you like what you saw, hit the like button. Subscribe if you'd like to see more of it. And definitely leave comments down below. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Or if you have any ideas for new projects, because I'm definitely looking forward to doing more of these with you. So, Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.